Perfect. So when it's all done, we'll be posting the recordings. They'll be on my YouTube channel. Kelly, I'm assuming you have a YouTube channel because of your webinars too, right? Your videos?
No.
No? Okay. Well,
And you know what? I nag my husband endlessly about it, about his, to keep content current on his, and I don't even have one. So hopefully he doesn't find that out.
oh, that's so funny. That's so
Oh yeah,
funny. Well, that's okay. It'll be
on
posted
the list.
on our YouTube channel, and it'll be everywhere out there, the recording posted, and anybody who's here or who signed up and can't make it will also send out a PDF of the decks.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so I guess we'll put it in great big present mode. So Kelly and I kind of decided earlier today, so this is the first time we've collaborated together, so you'll just have to kind of bear with us. It's probably like a frickin' frack, I think, was what Kelly's um, description was earlier, so just have to kind of bear with us. We're using her desktop, but we've kind of both got desktop control. So we're going to be demoing some of what we're doing. So we're going to be going back and forth. So just kind of bear with us through that. Oh, there's more chat. Jonathan, awesome. Glad you two are connecting. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have personal connections as well, but that's aside from here. So anyway, it started off as a top 12, 17 hats, tips, and tricks, and now we're not at 12. I think we're at 16 now, and there's probably going to be more kind of as we're going through. So we love them all, so I think we kind of decided they're in no particular order. Now, there's no duplicates, but we are duplicating functions, but some of it we're actually using for different purposes, so we're just sharing it all here. So there's me. So I'm Tanya Hiltz, a CPB from Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. There's my email address and website. So I do truly believe in collaboration. I would not be where I am if it were not for collaboration within the industry. It makes us all better. It helps us take to different levels, and we have so much to learn from each other and supporting each other. So I absolutely love that, that the industry has become all about collaboration. I do like to stay very busy. Anybody who knows me knows that. I sometimes create work when I get bored or when I have piles of work that I don't want to do, I create more work. And sometimes it comes back and bites me in the arse, which is why I need a very tight, organized, and scalable workflow. So just a little bit about my background, and so I'm a volunteer mentor through Futurepreneur Canada. I've got over 20 years of bookkeeping and income tax experience. I'm a current member of the Intuit Trainer Writer Network, a 2017 Firm in the Future runner-up, 2017 Black Swan alumni, certified professional bookkeeper through IPBC here in Canada because I know we have non-Canadians, advanced certified QBO Pro Advisor, certified QuickBooks Desktop Pro Advisor, although I don't really work in desktop much anymore, HubDoc Advanced Partner, Receipt Bank certified, WagePoint certified, Pluto certified, and I see that I've got a typing error, my apologies, 17 Hats partner, and one of the top 50 cloud accounting firms recognized by HubDoc for this year. After that big breath, that's it about me. Kelly, take it away.
Okay.
Oh, I went too far.
So I love organizing, and I am completely geeked out on workflows, and I'm not allowed to talk about it outside of my professional life. Everybody is sick of my workflows and my organizing. So I love when I can have a webinar and yak away about workflows. And I do bookkeeping as well as educating people about workflows and how to become a cloud bookkeeper, certainly not like Tanya's bootcamp, but individually. And then I do work with firms to help them realize that the cloud bookkeeping benefits we hear about actually can happen. So, because it's a bit of a journey through all of that for sure. I'm an Intuit Trainer writer, and then I am certified in a whole pile of software.
You don't want to say them all like I did, really?
Well, they're the same ones. So
there you go.
We can just kind of carry on from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Questionnaires is a lead form. So you can access URL links to lead forms. And actually for questions, if you guys can just hold the questions to the end, we're going to, as I say, kind of demo things as we go through and have questions at the end. So anyway, so you can access a URL to lead forms. So why not set it up as a questionnaire this way? If you do that, you can include a link to questionnaire lead forms in emails. So for example, anybody who's ever been to any of my webinars before knows that right at the end, there's generally a survey, a link to a survey to put you into a draw for a Tim Hortons gift certificate or something if you fill it in. And so it's great for how do we do type surveys that I can just send a link to that. You can put that link anywhere for that. It's not restricted to a workflow when you set it up as a lead form. And of course, the survey will then flow in as a new lead project and you're notified by email. So I use lead questionnaires when I want to follow up something that is not based on a standard workflow. So there's definitely lots of good things. So I will just pop over on Kellie's screen here. Does it matter which one I use?
No. Might be the first one. Should be. I tried to put them in order. Nope. Next one. Keep going. There we go. Okay. So questionnaires. We can talk about a couple of things while we've got this demo page open. I am going to talk about questionnaires. I use them instead of standard emails generally. So if I need somebody to let me know when I can start their bookkeeping. So I have a first of the month nagging email that automatically goes out to my clients, and it tells them to get everything into HubDoc, and it tells them to make sure their connections are running and yakety yak, all the things that I need them to do. And the email is actually, it's a questionnaire. So you hit the big green button, as I like to call it, and they fill out the questionnaire. And then the questionnaires sit in the client portal, and it's fantastic for two reasons. The questionnaire pings me back. I get an email telling me that the client has answered them. And also when that happens, and let's see if this is one of the ones. There you go. This is actually one. So yes, everything is ready. No. And I have a couple of different ones. Some of them actually have dates. So they can let me know when their bookkeeping is going to be ready for me to begin. And I can just take them right off my to-do list until they have told me that they're going to be ready. So my clients generally have to have everything in by the 5th. But they can tell me that they're not going to, and I can just boom along with other clients. The beautiful thing is it tells them when it was sent out, and it tells them, well, you can see I haven't answered. There's one. And it says when it was answered. So there's great accountability with questionnaires as well. Back to you there, Tanya.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I was going to actually just demo the lead form.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Do you want me to
That's
take you to
okay.
leads? I can get to leads pretty quickly.
Sure. All right. Yeah, we'll just do that. Sorry.
Yeah, no
So
problem.
yeah,
Let's go to leads.
accept our patience again because this is our first time working together, and it's
It's
tax
our
season.
first day.
It is. It is. It's the first day. It's tax season. It's crazy time for everybody. So
there we go. We're in my leads.
perfect. Beautiful. So if you just so if we've got this again, you've got here the form. You go in here, you can actually just grab the link. So if I'm grabbing here, link to 17 Hats form, I grab right in between the quotations. If you grab that, pop that up in any URL, it takes you immediately to that. So that's why it's great to kind of throw that link into emails. Or even on websites, click here and they can click there and you don't have to have the form up there. So yeah, set it up as a lead form. I wish that we could do that in the regular questionnaires, but we can't, which is why we use questionnaires as lead forms.
Okay, so while we're in that, can I show something real quick?
Absolutely,
okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so we'll talk about this one because you may have seen, so you can actually, we can view the form and you can see that you can grab the URL from here as well. But you can see that it can trigger some different answers, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in here. So this is the lead form that you build out, and actually let's go to this one. This is the lead form that you build out, and in here you can start workflows from the answers that they provide. So we give a question, and then you can see that it starts a workflow. You can start any workflow So this is a what if, then what? So if, like I said, all of these things, depending on how somebody answers my lead form as a questionnaire, it can start workflows right there, and you can set up one lead form to start a whole series of workflows. I'm not sure if that made any sense at all.
It did to
Okay,
me.
carry on, Tanya. Sorry.
I was like, it did to me. So yes, here's what kind of Kelly's just gone through is questionnaires are awesome. Okay, so
Oh, Tony,
next,
while we're on the
oh,
topic of questionnaire, oh, while we're on the
yes,
topic of questionnaires, and I
there's
think you
more.
say it, yeah, you say it later, but let's show this.
Sure.
Um, so questionnaires is awesome, but let's go to build a something, and we're going to build anything. We'll build a questionnaire, and it has all of these kinds of tokens. That's what happens with the questionnaires. You talk about tokens later, but let's just take a quick look while we're sort of in there. You can
Yep.
insert any of these kinds and different signatures. So let the forms do their work for you. Sorry about that, Tanya. Carry on.
No, that's okay. That's okay. This is, we want it to be nice and light, and that's our personalities anyway, right? So it's all good. All good. All right. So while we're on the topic of questionnaires, yeah, you can complete it and save a questionnaire for your clients that don't have email to save it in their project. So we'll just kind of demo that. So just as an example,
You want a
we
questionnaire?
will, yeah, just pop into a workflow.
Oh, you want into a workflow? Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So for tax season, for example, I've got tax season workflows.
Oh, did you say pop into a workflow?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, a
There you
workflow
go.
that would have a questionnaire
How about that
or
one?
something that we can add one in just really quick and take it and take. Oh,
Yep.
wait, there's questionnaire right
Yep.
there.
Do you want me to open it?
Sure. Yeah. So if we open this, so let's say this client's for my tax workflow, for example, a lot of my tax clients don't have email. So if there's something that I want to know, so we want to know basically we've got life changes. Have you gotten married? Have you, any new kids? Have you sold a home? There's a couple of questions that we send out by questionnaires within the tax process. But again, some of our clients don't have that. So we can just pop it up and fill it out. But now if you fill it out here, there's no save button. There's no way to save and submit from here. So what we do is we grab that, send a reminder. I'm not actually going to do it, but take here out, put in our own email address. Boom, it pops up. We can fill it out, and then it's hit submit, and it saves now into 17 hats.
I'm
Oops, I
gonna
don't
go.
want to go mess with anything.
Yeah, that's
All
okay.
right. And I think that was let me just pop back to the card. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, voila, the questionnaire is now stored in 17 hats for future reference. So that way you don't have to worry about printing off a copy or anything like that. So,
Actually, if I could mention something really quick, what it does do is it saves the URL information on the back end. 17 Hats has a way of knowing if you're using contracts and questionnaires so that you can get all the answers you want, if it ever came down to a bit of a battle on he said, she said, the URL will say that a contract or a questionnaire has been filled out at a particular location, which is
right.
interesting. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. So the ones that are filled out verbally that you fill out would actually show, they would link back to your own IP
Yep.
address.
Yep.
Excuse me. But the other ones just, would link back to the client's actually their IP address.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Beautiful. All right.
Okay.
Back to you, Kelly.
Phases. I love phases. Actually, I was not using them in the beginning, so some of my workflows I haven't put them in. But any workflows that I build out now and the ones that I sell and share are built in phases, and they're built in phases for a number of reasons. I have a section called Let's Get Ready, and these are all of the things that start to go out. And then you're going to wait. You're either waiting on the client, you are waiting for bank statements to come in, whatever you're waiting for. So then there's a couple of pauses of the different things that you're going to wait for, and you're going to get pinged back on these questionnaires, that kind of thing. And then you start into the meat of it. So you carry on through these sections, and then I get to the reporting section. And it's great because let's say that this client doesn't want any reporting at all. So I'm going to build this new workflow out for somebody else. I'm going to duplicate this workflow. I'm going to create it for I'm going to customize it for my new client. I can actually just delete an entire phase. That is really useful in my onboarding. So when I'm onboarding a new client, I do a lot of onboarding for training, not for bookkeeping. And I can delete different sections of the onboarding process as they relate to that client. So you don't have to delete a whole bunch of steps. It's a way of deleting a group of actions. And I love it because it sets the pace. Very often, when you are working away, everybody thinks they've reconciled and then they're done. There's nothing left to do. Well, if you have a whole other phase to go, it lets your team or your client, because my clients get to see where I'm at in the workflows. They're not invited into my 17 hats, but we share them so they can see what's missing, that kind of thing. And it really sets the pace for how much work is left to do. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So where I use phases, excuse me, is so quoting, because we're growing, so we're quoting people. So I've got a quote phase, then an onboarding, I guess just like a collecting of information phase, then your onboarding phase. So we've got 4 phases basically. So then you're the initial onboarding and then a software setup. So you're right. If we've got somebody who is, let's, for whatever reason, I don't know, we were skipping over one, or different engagements or something, you're right, we can go in and create a full phase rather than just a few topics. So yeah, it's great. But you're right, some of my workflows look like yours and have 50, 60, 70 items, but
Yeah.
we use it for everything. It's very detailed, and most of it, like you, most of it's automated.
Yeah. A
Yep.
lot of notes. Actually, a lot of my emails are automated. Well, no, actually, I'm a control freak. So the first of the month ones are automated, but a lot of the other ones, they're kind of up to me to keep going. Certainly in the onboarding phase, things are definitely automated. If they do that, then this happens. So
Right.
that's the if that, then this phase. So this is, you can see Tanya and I tend to build a lot of our workflows out the same. So you can see that you can quote the new client, but if you've already quoted them, you can just get rid of that phase, whatever. And down here, some of them don't need the training section. So you can
Yep.
just get rid of that entire phase, whatever you need to do. Maybe you're getting them from an accountant and they already have their own tech stack, whatever the case may be. Maybe the accountant has all of this information.
Yep.
Yep, it's great. Okay.
Well, and just to build on what you said about with the emails, is you're right. I've got a lot of emails in there that are not automatic as well, depending on what phase. So we have, for example, their payroll liabilities, their HST. We have those email templates pre-done so that
Yep.
we just basically, they're the exact same. We pull it up, we grab in their amount, change the date, boom, boom, send it. So that way, you're not repeating anything. And I actually, now that I say that, I think you talk about that later in one of yours too. So.
Well, yeah, but why don't I just show that while
Sure.
we're on that topic? It
Sure.
might save us a little time later. So this speaks twofold to the topic of one of the things that I use heavily in 17 Hats, and that is my emails are embedded right in the workflow. So I don't have to go pick an email. I don't have to think about it. The emails are all ready to go. That doesn't mean that when you're in a workflow, you can't add an email, or when you're in the client portal, you can't do one outside of the workflow. But not having to decide what email to send is like game changing. It's instant. So after I've done the journal entry to move HST to AP, then this email is ready to, oh, I can't show it. Yeah, right. This email is ready to go out, and that's fantastic. I think we've talked about this, close books with passwords. Anyways, and you can schedule your emails. So when I go, I left this open so that I could do it as a demonstration of how this works. So in my workflow, stuff is not necessarily automated because dates are really important, and I mentioned that later. They really count on the base date to be correct, and I can't change this base date until I go to do, actually, so back to the story. you can not only can you initiate emails and questionnaires and things in the workflow, you can actually start another workflow from your workflow. And there's an explanation in the deck why that works, but basically you're done with the file, you're done with the workflow, everything's ready until you don't have to do a thing until next month. And then April 1st, hold the phone. We're gonna do that. Hey, hang tight, and I'm really sorry, guys. I don't want to waste anybody's time like this. I've already done this for a few of my clients this month, so I know that April 1st is a Sunday. I'm not sending that out on a Sunday. So we're going to change over that date. Oh, sorry. We're going to call it April. This is live. This is what I'm doing for my clients. At the end of a workflow, this is what I'm doing. And then I get this email ready to go, and I schedule it. And to me, that is game changing. Oh, I just said.
Love it. You're right. And I forgot about the scheduling the emails.
Yeah. And this client, by the way, is not a morning person. I am not going to send her a 7 a.m. email. She's a restaurant. I want it to land in her inbox, kind of at a good time when she's already roamed through some of her other emails. I now do not have to think about this workflow or that client file until she pings me back with her questionnaire filled out of what date I can start her books. Okay. Yep.
Well, and another good use of the scheduling of the emails, what I use it for more often than not since they've come out with it, is, for example, your WSIB. We know that our WSIB authorizations are only good for 2 years. Or let's say you've got somebody on a credit card, like a pad agreement from a credit card, and you've got to update that. So I will go in and schedule out an email, a month shy of their expiry dates for the WSIB form with it attached saying we need a new form or whatnot. So because that way I don't have to worry about it, later. So I've already gone in and scheduled those follow-up emails for 2 years down the road.
Yep, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, especially when you do your setup and then you just, add a workflow to that. It's a reminder to send another one in 2 years for the WSIB or whatever. So yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
All right. So more questionnaires. Back to questionnaires. Use insert form within a contract. So you can actually set up a questionnaire as a contract because the questionnaires are beautiful. They're laid out, but if you're looking for something like a pad agreement or, something to fill in the blanks, it can sometimes be too long. So if you want to keep it compact, you can actually go in. So I guess Kelly's already working on bringing one up. Thank you, Kelly. Excuse me. You can go into a contract, use the tokens. So is there a contract that we can use?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Again, I won't save it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So what are we creating, a contract or a questionnaire?
No contract.
Okay, it's all yours.
So, what you can do in, all your typing and whatever, keep everything nice and neat and then say here, insert your token, or sorry, insert form, not tokens, forms. So if you want them to fill in their address, maybe, so, fill this in here, or if you want their initials, so, you've got, again, a big paragraph of something and you really want them to pay attention to that, you can input that they have to put their initials right at the end of it, required. So you can use this and build a contract as a completable contract as well, instead of just a questionnaire, and then it keeps it short, compact, and again, they have to sign off on that rather than submitting, because as a contract, they've got to type their name. It makes it a little more professional, a little more serious, rather than just a questionnaire.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to show you one that I use, and let's see. So there's one that I really wanted to show you. I have all of my stuff organized with everything starts with what it's supposed to be, except my contracts are messy. Pre-authorized, we won't talk about that. Give me 2 seconds. There should be. Oh. So the initials go all over the place on some of these and all of the tags
Yep.
and the things. Yeah, and that is great. You can add them in wherever you really want them to look at what you're doing. And so that was not the best demo I could have given of that. So sorry about that.
No, that was a great because that had a nice mixture of tokens and the text, the initials. So that was a good one.
Who's next? I think I am. Oh,
Yep.
okay. So we already talked about this a little bit. Workflows as an action. And so, like I said, we did it early, so I guess it's covered off. I I have workflows as an action for all kinds of things. So I showed you how you can do it in the lead form, where if this, then that, and you can do that in the workflows as well. So you can initiate whatever other workflows you have while you're in a workflow. The thing to keep in mind is with my client ones, you have to duplicate a workflow if it's going to be exactly the same one. You can't initiate the same workflow from the workflow that you're in. So that's the only caveat on that one. Okay.
Right. And currently there is no repeat. So you've got to reschedule and like Kelly says,
Yeah.
watch that base date. So we have annual workflows that we actually have scheduled, which we use our phases again for that. They're an annual workflow would consist of an HST phase, a payroll phase, like our different phases for that. So then we can again delete whatever's not applicable to the client. And we just set it up. We set up one long one repeating basically, but we look at the date. So, payroll reminders might have to go out every 14 days or
Yeah.
whatnot. But then every year we've got to sit down and rewatch that date. Hopefully one day in the future there will be a repeat option. But until now, we're making it work.
Yeah, and I'll
It's
show
an
you
easy
something on that.
workaround.
Yeah, I'll show you something on that later, and that's the workflows for workflows. But carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so that's okay. Organize your template. So it might sound like overkill, but when you're using automation for everything, organize it. So Kelly's got it organized exactly the same way. So yeah, you've got your KP. I guess that would be for your reporting,
Yeah, no,
nagging. So
those are the ones that are part of they're for sales sharing. So it was easy to find them
oh,
because
okay.
that's a 17 hats thing to use your initials when you're sharing and selling your templates. But
Oh,
nagging.
yeah. See how I have mine organized as tax for taxes, HR for, any type of hiring process, um, you know, BK lead for like a bookkeeping lead. I share through Seller Forms and share those with all my boot campers. So as
Yep.
BC for boot camp, so that they get all of those, but they get all my like specific forms, but they get all
Yep.
mine anyway, like as we hit certain topics. So that's why I like it in the topics, right? So that way I'm like, okay, yeah, this topic goes in that group and share it out. So, and that actually, I have to say, was not even my idea. That was one of our current boot campers, Kim, and I don't know that Kim's actually in the call yet. Nope, she's not. I know she'll be listening to the recording. So thank you, Kim. It's now a
Yeah.
tip. So, but
So,
it makes it easier.
yep, I use them for my workflows too, so that I
Excuse me.
can
Yep.
easily find which workflow I want. And remember I was saying start a workflow from a workflow? This is where my client workflows are duplicated. So there's two versions of each, so I can start the next one.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. Nope. That's it. That's great.
Okay.
All right. I think back to you for your next one.
We already talked about this.
Yes.
Yes, so it can be a little awkward if you're welcoming to them to a month and it's midway through. So that's all. Just really be careful of the dates and what you're automating. I mean, we've all got some of these same skill sets that we use in our bookkeeping day-to-day stuff. So anything like, I don't automate much out of the bank feed. I certainly don't automate much out of the document processing program. So same deal. Up to you, but just be really careful with the dates.
I automate a fair amount, but again, there's a lot of things only if I'm 100% positive. Same thing with the bank feeds. I need to be 100% positive. I do not automate like gas from the bank feed because, hey, what if they bought pop? What if they bought water? What if they bought chips? So same
Yep.
thing again with this. I am only if I'm 100% positive that can
Yeah.
go out no matter what happens. If, the office blows up, if nothing happens the month before, can that email still be triggered
Right.
regardless of what happened? If that email can still be triggered regardless of if the worst thing happens, I automate it. Otherwise, you're right, I don't.
Yep.
Same as you. Yep. All right.
Tokens. We're on to you.
Oh,
Oh,
tokens.
yep.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Yeah, we both moved it. All right. Use tokens. They're there for a reason. Personalize the automation. Um, just make sure that you're completing the fields because the tokens, when you're using them, they pull from. Is there something that's already
Yeah,
open that we
sure.
can
I
take
think
a
I
look
got
at?
template. No. Uh, actually,
That would
do we
be
want?
from like a customer perspective, right? From a contact.
Yeah. So, do we want to just create an email and take a look?
Or no, sorry, no, like in a contact. So I just want to show them the
Oh, you want
the
to see a
contact
project page?
form first. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay,
Makes.
so that'll pull from here. So if you've got,
Yeah.
the contact name filled out, and oh, we moved around. So yeah, the contact name. Let's say
Hold
you've
on.
got
Let me go to my own. Let's give me
perfect.
2 seconds. I'm going to go to my own for a second here.
Okay, great.
Uh,
So yeah, if we go into edit contact, just to actually bring up the contact. So if you go in and you've got, hi, you just want to keep it formal, or hi, Kelly. And let's say you don't have Kelly's name here. Let's say this is gone, and we won't save it, don't worry. And it's just got company. It'll show hi blank with a comma, and that'll look pretty embarrassing. So again, just like the dates, make sure that when you're using the tokens, you're using them for an area that you would always fill out.
our amazing work. Yep. Our amazing work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All
Yeah,
right.
tokens are fun. You can add in all kinds of information. So you template your emails and then they go out completely customized to your client, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So what I always do, I think everybody, no, why would I say that? Not everybody knows that I'm crazy about my browser. So I'm crazy about my browser. This is a general rule for me anyways, is to have my browser optimized. And this is one of the places that it works terrific. So let's open up this one. And then I found some really fantastic changes that I wanted to make in this workflow. So I'm going to add some new things. And in fact, give me 2 seconds. We are going to go, um, let's get my demo one open. So I want to make some changes in here, but I've already got the other workflow. Wait for it. Sorry, I got to find my project page. I'm going to add a workflow. This is why it's great to name them properly.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, we're going to make that. And then we're going to carry on. Sorry about the delay there. Demos are dodgy bits of business, but when they're working, it's great. So let's say that in here, I have lots of notes in here. That's how I keep some of the best practices going. So if I want to, let's say that there's a new and I also put notes in here. You can put overall notes. All of my clients have overall notes in their workflows. So there's notes that go on the folder project page, and then notes that go in here. So there's overall notes, and then there are best practices, maybe a bit of a mini workflow, whatever the case may be, goes into here. And then I use some links so that it's easy to find stuff. At any rate, I make a fantastic change in a workflow while I'm working on it. It is not going to translate over to the mothership. So this workflow is not going to get that change, which is great, because if you're changing a workflow just for that month, you don't want your perfect workflow to change, but now your perfect workflow isn't as perfect. So have the tab of the workflow, the client workflow open, and have the workflow open that you're working in. Did that make any sense at all? Now I can't find it. There we are. Did that make
To
any
me,
sense?
to me it does because I do the same thing. So
Okay. So basically all I'm saying is have the template for that client open while you're working in that month for the client and copy the notes over to the original workflow.
Yeah, well, Jonathan says it makes sense to him too, so
Oh, good.
there's
Yay,
somebody else.
Jonathan.
Exactly. All right. So I use separate projects for taxes and bookkeeping for those clients with multiple services. We do a lot of notes on, either which way. We use 17 Hats as our full CRM. So we find that we've got a lot of, like, I was almost 600 tax clients. I don't want all of that showing up. So we keep separate projects. We do not start a new project for every tax year because the problem is when you do, you lose your notes. So if we keep one project for taxes, one project for bookkeeping services, it's very easy for us to, kind of go back and forth between the two projects to see the notes. If there's notes that are very important on the taxes, I don't want them to get lost within bookkeeping notes or, vice versa. And then we clean up any unused items within the project or the workflow just to kind of keep everything clean. So when we're done taxes for 2016, when we've added, or 2017, we've added that workflow. When we're done, we clean up, make sure there's nothing left unticked. If it's not applicable, delete it, because in that way it just moves off of your main overview screen onto the side. Again, keeps everything nice and neat. And then just for notes, keep them concise, factual, professional, because if your client has access to the client portal, they can see what you wrote. And then use quick short forms for everyone internally to be able to understand if they're reviewing it for a quick review. Just little CRM tips there.
Yeah, cleaning up is key. Actually, if I can
Yes.
get back to workflows for 2 seconds, because it's a tip that I didn't put in here because it seems so obvious, but I'm going to mention it.
Go
I
ahead.
start out with standard workflow. So my demo one is actually my standard bookkeeping workflow. And in it, I put absolutely everything that I would ever do, along with notes on best practices, or how to get to a link to fix something, whatever the case may be. Everything goes into that standard workflow. And then you can duplicate them. And when you duplicate them, you can take out or add in anything you want, and you can totally rename them for clients. So I know I'm going backwards a bit because I think we're kind of done with workflow, but I
It's
love
okay.
having standard ones and then duplicating them.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't do taxes, but I behave essentially the same way that Tanya does. I keep a single project folder for my clients. And just give me 2 seconds here. My clients, by the way, have signed off that they don't mind. There's no big secrets in here. I don't consider 17 Hats particularly secure, let's call it. So there's no documentation in here that anybody could really hack out and use happily on their way. So I keep their workflows, everything in there, because then I have all the notes, I have all of the emails, I have their client portal is there telling me when they've got things back and forth to me. There's a little thing here. I can put notes all over the place and then just keep them. And then what I do is I delete them. So this is his fiscal year. And then I would start deleting as I don't need stuff anymore. So I also keep one project folder for my clients and put all of their workflow in it. And that's where I mentioned that 17 Hats it's certainly not bank level security, and if it's not, then I'm not gonna put in their BN numbers or any of that kind of stuff isn't in there. That's in QBO. QBO
Right.
is my secondary CRM. I keep secure notes and details in there. Okay.
All right. Yeah. And just to kind of, if I can just pop back here just a second to build on that, if you want to take a look, any documents, all documents are here regardless if they're an old workflow or not. It'll
Yeah.
only show 3. When you've got more than 3, it'll actually show you the number so that you can then expand on that. And if you want to go back and check something in a previous workflow, you can still click it and go back. So the history is there. You can still go to see when you completed things.
Yeah, and on
Yeah.
that topic, actually, sometimes so if I'm going to delete a workflow and there's any question that I need it to look at it again, I actually just PDF it. Well, okay, PDF is a lie, and I need to stop lying. Let's go down to here. So I actually screenshot the entire page, and then I can save it. And I tend to be a little bit lazy, so their engagement doesn't have everything that I do for them. I do the same thing. I screenshot their workflow, and then that gets attached to their engagement letter, and they sign off on their engagement contract based on the workflow screenshot that I provided them. So
So
that's
sign off after the fact to say that yes, you completed it at the end of the year for your new engagement, or at the
no.
beginning?
So yeah, if they're going to re-engage, I don't list all of the things I do for them. I just
Oh,
show them what I do for
I
them.
see what you're saying.
And
Okay.
they have work. I've built out some client workflows in here, and those workflows get PDF'd and sent to them, and they can check them off.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Good stuff. All right.
You missed yours.
I did. I'm back here. Okay, so 17 Hats is a CRM. So we use it as our main CRM. Again, like Kelly says, if there's anything that you want 100% completely secure, it doesn't go in there. It doesn't go by email, but otherwise, for the most part, again, that's why I say, I just keep things short, to the point, factual. It's in there. So we use tagging for quick sorting. So, for example, if I want to see our tax clients to be able to pull a list to be able to send the letter out, I just, I'll tag them taxes or monthly clients, or, if they're HST, basically anything that you would want to sort for. Just, I would caution, don't go tag crazy or it defeats the purpose. And then incoming emails outside of 17 Hats. So with the way that we're set up, for some reason, there's a glitch on us, which seems to be that if there's glitches, it's going to happen to mine. But so we don't get our emails we can send emails out, but there's something within our setup that's stopping the emails from coming in. We've been looking into it for almost 2 years, and they still can't figure out what the problem is. But with that, we get our emails that come in. Clients will email us. It comes into the support, whatever email address. I actually just copy the email thread, pop it into, like, go into 17 Hats, create an email, pop that in, and respond from 17 Hats. So it looks like I'm replying from there, but now I don't have to write any notes because that's saved, all of that, in an email thread.
Yeah. And you know what? I do something similar. Mine are coming back and forth. They only come back and forth if it's a contact in your 17 Hats. Mine do come back and forth, but let's say that an accountant sends a note that I need to know about somebody outside of my 17 Hats contracts. I copy and paste the email into the notes for that client themselves, so that I have a record of what either the accountant does, and then I'll put if it's a non-secure file, in it goes. Files are great in here as well. And yeah, same deal. Outside emails, copy and paste into notes for me though.
Yep. Right.
Oh yeah, okay. So I think I've already touched on that. So this is everything is in here, and you can put some files in here. I don't have a lot for this client because we're working day in and day out, so they're not a great example to show you. But I have some clients where I send a questionnaire. They have a ton of communications from me. There's a ton of little notes and files, and everything is in there. So I just love all of the project folders features. Just use them like crazy.
Yep. All right, and template sharing. We've kind of already touched about this, but template sharing, it's great if you've got, templates you want to share with your friends or sell to a colleague, like Kelly does, or use it within bootcamp like I do. You can share a single template, or you can select a group of them to share. And the person that you're sharing them with then only has to just import them, do some quick editing, and they're off to the races.
Yeah, that's new and that's fun.
It is.
Okay, so I would love to talk about this. I create workflows for my workflows, and I do this, and I wanted to have this project page up to show you just exactly how crazy I am. There we go, but it'll just take a second. So don't be scared by this. I tend to ignore that. What I have done is I have a workflow for my month because I am not particularly a calendar person. I like calendars for events. Like if I'm going somewhere, maybe I'm going to look at a new Australian Shepherd puppy or something. Okay, or maybe I have a webinar. Those things will go into my calendar. Otherwise, I don't have a lot toggle to go to my calendar, or I would completely lose my biscuits. What I do is I check everybody off, and it tells me when I have done things. So this works great for me. I have some off-cycle quarterly tax filers, so I set this up for the year so that I know exactly what I have to do, who gets the PD 7As, because not all of my clients are the same. And this way I don't have to go into different client workflows to see where I'm at. I actually check these off as I'm done, or I put notes in about why they're not, and you can tag things to waiting on client, all that kind of stuff. So I absolutely love my workflows for workflows, and then I have one that is all ready to go that is going to tell me the things that I need to send out for my clients at year end. So this is all this, I don't have that many clients, so this is it. So that all of these things, I know that I've sent them all of their nagging end year stuff. I've re-engaged them, whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
workflows for, mm-hmm.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, workflows for workflows. Love them.
Well, see, I was gonna say it's interesting to see you do that because like the workflows of what you need to do each month, the PD7As, or whatever, we actually use those in the QBO work. So we kind of use that. We used to use Asana, now we just QBO work. That's kind of like
Right.
our internal to-do list. But it's really interesting to see a different way. But this just kind of goes to show, I think, why Kelly and I both love 17 Hats, or something really similar. Dubsato's got a lot of similar features. I
Yeah,
just
for
have
sure.
so much time invested with 17 Hats, and I've bought a 12-year subscription from them paid in advance, so I'm not going anywhere. But if you think outside the box with anything that you're, any type of workflow software you're using, if you think outside of the box, you can get beyond what it was intended for just by getting creative.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
there's a ton of great workflow programs. There is no shortage of great workflow program. And I say this all the time, for crying out loud, just pick one and get going. I mean, to me, the big ones like Arrow Workflow, oh my goodness, it's amazing. Dubsado, it's awesome. Carbon, it's awesome. Just do a quick interview, I like to call it, of them. Find one that you really kind of gel with. It just feels right. And then for crying out loud, just get going on it. You can hack out all kinds of things once you're going.
Yeah. All right. So that was the end of the tip. So does anybody have any questions, comments? So we've got questions in chat already. So Chantel says, why did you choose 17 Hats over some other CRM? She was looking at Asana because you could use it with multiple people, and 17 Hats seems to be capped at 5 team members. If I can just answer, I'll answer mine first because I'm talking, and then Kelly can answer her answers to that. So we actually chose to stick with 17 Hats because it's more of a minimalist attitude. At one point, we were signing into, I think it was almost 20 different sets of software a day, and I said, this is ridiculous. We need to get out. So how we use 17 Hats on our end of things is we sign in with one email address. It's just support is our main email address that we sign into. Then when we leave our notes, we actually go in and we put our first name in the note. So if I'm leaving a note, it's Tanya. If Leanne's leaving it, it's Leanne. If Sandra's leaving it, it's Sandra. So that's how we're able to get around that. And then we use the internal tagging, if I want, or not internal tagging, but the internal assigning. We use the QBO practice management that we used to do in Asana. So that's kind of how we use that and get around that. So I know, Kelly, your response to that?
Yeah, well, actually, the big sticking point for me is and like I said, there's a ton of other great programs. 17 Hats came on the scene fairly early in the game, though, in a
Yep.
robust kind of manner. It had, bar none, the strongest workflow because I could initiate all kinds of actions. So there's tons of them with great workflows that you can check stuff off. I don't even know if any of them you can really, I think Dubsado you can now. But certainly at that point when I signed up with 17 Hats, it was the only one where the emails were embedded in the workflow. Nobody had to make a decision about what email they were going to send. And that
Right.
the questionnaires were embedded in the workflow. There's so many actions right in the workflow. So I stuck with it because I need to check through my day. That's just how I am. And it's got all my happy little check marks and away I go. I like the feel of it. I've said that before. I actually wrote a blog on it that I actually wrote a blog. Did you really just say that, Kelly? Anyways, all of these SaaS apps, they're kind of like people relationships. Either they're going to gel or they're not. 17 Hats just gelled for me right from the minute I met it, and away we went. And that's not saying that the other programs aren't as robust or aren't going to suit you or whatever the case may be. But I am not leaving a program that I can initiate so many actions right in the workflow and not even have to consider which email do I send now? Not a note in the workflow. It's an action, and that's to me fantastic.
Well, and not even that. Again, look at how much time is invested. I know I've been
Yeah,
using 17 Hats for it's 3 years anyway.
yeah,
And that's when I started with them, what I used them for to start with was just the quoting and the contract process, and it kind of went smooth
yeah,
from one to the other, automatic with the emails. And then I didn't use it for all this other stuff. And then they did. This was before they even had monthly. You just bought in advance. I bought 1 year in advance. I said, oh, this is great. They had a deal for 2 years. Great, I'll buy the 2 year deal. Then they turned around, they had a webinar week. So they had a week of
yeah,
free webinars. I signed up for everything. At the end of that week, I bought 5 years. It was you jaws will drop now, but I bought 5 years at 4.99, or sorry, 10 years at 4.99 US, and that's what I renew at. So now again, I've got like nine. I think I've bought at different deals. They've added whatever to me, so I think I've still got like 9 or 10 years left. But it was so much more robust, and it's come a long way since then.
yeah.
But again, like I've got so much time invested with it and set up, but it does everything that we want. Some things might have to be a little bit of a workaround because I think everybody knows it was actually created for photographers, not for bookkeepers, but it still works great.
It's awesome. My husband loves it just for the lead generator. The lead generation is, I don't think there's a better lead generation capture thingy out there.
Yep.
Actually, though, I need to make a point that I think is so important. It's not a tip, it's what I do. So once a year at least, if not more often. Now my sent emails wind up in my Gmail anyways, but I don't keep that much in my Gmail. I kind of get rid of them. I have what I call my backup system. These programs, every single one of them is owned by somebody. And I do not want to be beholden to somebody. So and I'm not, believe me, I am not saying that it's going to, but I'm out ahead of this. I'm out ahead of this with Intuit with QBO. I don't care, how solid something is. I have my own backups for all of my SaaS programs. So for this one, I have PDFs of everything. Well, I have the screenshots that you can
Yep.
actually take an entire rolling screenshot of something. I have all of my emails have been sent to one email address where they're stored just in case. My contracts are PDF'd. So if for some reason something happened to 17 Hats tomorrow, so to your point, we've got a lot of time invested in it, Tanya. I could
Yep.
copy and paste into another program. I don't want to.
Yep.
But it's smart to create some form of backup for yourself because, yeah, like you, I got so much work into this thing that
Oh, you
I,
never know. And that's, yeah,
yeah,
I've got
yeah,
everything in Word. Like for my flows, my emails, my everything
yeah,
is in Word. Of course, I use it for boot camp, which was great that I do that, but it's all set up there. I've got
yeah,
screenshots of my workflow. So again, you're right. I could rebuild my quotes, my contracts, my everything. Again, you're right. I PDF a copy.
yeah,
We use SmartVault to put that into. So
yeah.
that's where that goes into there. Absolutely. And yeah, I've
You,
got a backup for everything. So
yeah,
same
and
like you.
even to the topic of QBO, because I think everybody knows I like to get off on tangents that make no sense to the topic at hand. So I have the GL, the trial balance, ARAP, P&L. Everything is auto scheduled to go to what I call the QBO backup for all of my clients. That goes out, one client it goes out weekly. Actually, I guess two clients, and the rest of them it goes out monthly. And that's my form of QBO backup. just in case. I don't want to
Yep.
be the person that finds out later that I'm screwed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So
Okay.
Jonathan just said he had to go. Thank you for a lot of great ideas. He's got his work cut out for him. Looking forward to the recording. And then Chantel said, cool. Thank you. Kelly, you mentioned you would not use it for secure documents. So what
Yeah.
would you use for that?
I'm using QBO. I'm using QBOA.
Yep.
As you know, Tanya, I think you've seen some of my discussions on it. I've gone around in circles to death on this topic because my clients are apt out and they get confused by them. They're already signing into QBO. So QBOA is not perfect yet, the document sharing, but they are really working on it. And lucky for me, I'm in on that. So
Nice.
they get to hear my opinion on some stuff, which is fantastic. Both Mountain View's been really responsive. So QBOA needs folders, and I want to be able to download from so if I'm sending a report anyways, I want it to go into my QBOA, whatever. Nobody cares about my wish list. QBOA, that's where my secure notes go. That's where my document sharing is, and then my clients don't need to go anywhere else to find their stuff.
Right. See, and we use ShareFile. We do use
Yeah,
QBOA for some things, absolutely, but we use ShareFile. We brought that in for our taxes. We've worked that into our workflow 2 years ago almost, or I guess a year and a half ago, and it works well. They can just sign in. We've already decided we're keeping it forever, and that's our online cloud storage, which is extremely secure for that. So we would, again, use that. QBOA, I haven't sent any secure documents through QBOA, but like maybe the PD7A or whatnot. But yeah,
yeah.
so we kind of use a combination of the both.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments? Give somebody.
Crickets.
I don't see anybody typing. I know, lots of crickets, lots of crickets.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I guess there's nothing else here coming in yet. Leanne says, thanks for all the great tips. Chantel says, thank you for an informative session. So thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of it and yeah, didn't mind our back and forth banter and the fact that we just kind of, arranged this as the first few people were signing on.
Great. Yeah, great.
All right. Great. Oh, Michelle says, great joint webinar. Loved it. Hope to see you all again soon. Absolutely. That is Michelle from up north, I do believe, who I met very briefly at IPBC, and I turned around and she was gone. So, yes, that's Michelle. Yes, she is way, 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 way north. Nunavut, if I'm remembering correctly.
Cool.
Yukon. Yeah, very way north. Very way, Yukon. Yes, very way north. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Well,
I
thanks
will.
for your time.
Oh, yes. Thank you for your time, everybody. Thank you, Kelly. This was great to do this. We should maybe try and do these together a little bit more often in the future when we can come up with new ideas and new banter.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to email everybody out the PDF of the deck. I'll email out the YouTube channel link when I get it up, probably not till later tonight or tomorrow, but you'll have it all. And yeah, that's great.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Enjoy your weather down there in Florida, Kelly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Will
All
do.
right. Okay. Talk to you later. Okay. Take
Bye.
care. Bye, everyone.